Well, thank you very much, moderator. It's a real pleasure for me to be given the opportunity to talk at this conference. I'm really grateful to West Africa TESOL, and I hope that my presentation will be of much interest to you all. So my session title is about online activities for collaborative learning in Zoom breakout rooms. And here is my references, my contact information. You can email me at khassoum2016@hotmail.com or my WhatsApp line. So this being said, here is my learning outcomes. At the end of these sessions, I expect participants to be able to define collaborative learning and as well identify some online activities for collaborative learning. And most importantly, to use this online collaborative learning with Zoom back to their own context. And as for the session outline, the first thing to be done is to set up the breakout rooms, because not all Zoom app can have access to Zoom to breakout rooms. So you need to do the setting, especially when you have a pro Zoom. With basic Zoom, you cannot have the breakout room. I'll come back to that later on. The second point of the session is a kind of definition of collaborative learning. We need to know and understand what does collaborative learning means. And the last session is about some online activities, how to use them, what are the procedures, what are the stages to implement a online collaborative learning before we end up with kind of reflection back to our context. Now, regarding the breakout room setting, I said, since we have two types of Zooms, the one that is free, we all use, and the one that is a pro one, that is the one that have more features, including breakout rooms. So this one, before you have access to the breakout room, you need to do the setting up in the parameters right at the very beginning before the session. Otherwise, you won't be able to have the breakout rooms. So in this session now, it's not very difficult to manage. You go to your account, your Zoom account, and you go to parameters, and you scroll down, you scroll down, you scroll down until you see breakout rooms, and you activate the breakout rooms. Then it will be available when you open a Zoom session. So make sure that you know exactly how to do the parameters before you want to use it. And remember, if you have a basic Zoom, it will be a little bit difficult for you to have it, right? So imagine I already did it. I already did my setting, and then I have access to the breakout rooms whenever I open a Zoom account, because I'm using a pro one. Now, activity number one. This is the very first activity number one, and it is for 5 minutes. Now, first, right now, I will give you 1 minute. 1 minute. You think about a keyword in collaborative learning. According to you, what is the most important word in collaborative learning? So take 1 minute and think about this word. Don't write your answer in the chat box. Just think by yourself about one keyword on collaborative learning. All right, now each one of you have an idea about a keyword in collaborative learning. Now I'm going to send you into different rooms where you can discuss about the idea, about the keyword you have found by yourself. So it is just, I will send you in the breakout rooms for you to share your ideas about keyword of collaborative learning. And at the same time, you think and discuss about a kind of task your students can do when you have them in collaborative learning. What kind of task you can assign your student to do in a kind of collaborative learning, right? So I will send you for 5 minutes into the breakout rooms for 5 minutes before you come back. But make sure that when you come back, you will share your ideas about the keyword in collaborative learning and kind of task or example of task you can assign to yourself, to your students when you want them to do collaborative learning. Okay, so welcome back to the main rooms. I saw that discussion were very engaging and there were very interesting ideas that you share one another. I would like just to have 1 or 2 examples of teachers who report the discussion about the keyword in collaborative learning and students' involvement when they have some tasks to do. Just 1 or 2 examples before I come and share with my own ideas. Yes. All right. Now, about the keyword in collaborative learning, we might think about group work. Whenever we say collaborative learning, we expect our students to work in group, to share tasks together, to complete a task together, to help one another together in order to achieve a goal. Now, when they are doing group work together, there are 3 things they might do. They first communicate, they communicate between each other, and everyone will participate and get involved. So communication, participation, and involvement are the main activities your students do while they are doing a collaborative work. Now, the third question is what kind of tasks they might perform when they are doing a collaborative work. For instance, they might be asked to solve a problem solving, for instance, and they have to work in group. And when they work in group, they communicate, they participate, and they are involved. Or a teacher might ask them to create a knowledge or meaning They give them a vocabulary item, and then the teacher asks them to work together and to come up with a definition. Or he gives them a concept and students will try to work together to come up with a kind of explanation about the meaning of this keyword. And in here, students are left alone autonomously to work together, to communicate together, to share information together, to participate and to involve in order to come up with one definition of a word. Or even the teacher might ask them to take a decision, for instance, a kind of task where they are expected to take the final decision, for instance. And the last activity they can do in group work is like complete a task. So together as a group, they complete a task. So roughly speaking, in a collaborative learning, we expect students to work in group, to communicate, to participate, to involve, while performing tasks like solve a problem, create knowledge, complete a task, and take a decision. Now remember, these 4 tasks, like solve a problem, complete a task, take a decision, and create a knowledge. Because we're gonna be focusing on these 4 for the next activity. Solve a problem, complete a task, take a decision, and create a knowledge. Now let's see our second activity, right? I will be sending you to a breakout rooms for a second time. But this one, you are called the experts. Remember the task the students can do in a good way: solve a problem, create knowledge or meaning, take decision, and complete a task. So I will send you in 4 breakout rooms. I will send you in 4 breakout rooms. Now in each breakout rooms, you are expected to share ideas about an activity. You share ideas about an activity where you ask your students to solve a problem. The other groups will share ideas about an activity where they ask students to create a knowledge or meaning. And the other group also will share ideas about an activity where students are expected to take a decision. And finally, the other group also are asked to share ideas about an activity where students, they will complete a task. So you'll be in different groups, 4 groups, discussing about 4 kind of ideas, about 4 kind of activities before you come back and share, right? And these groups are called the expert groups. Remember, the groups that will be in the solve problem will discuss about ideas about an activity. They might ask their students to solve a problem. The other one in create knowledge or meaning, they will share ideas about an activity where they can ask students to create a knowledge, and so on and so forth. So I will be sending you in the 4 groups for discussion for 5 minutes, right? Okay. So here you go. Remember, I would expect you also to have a report. Okay. Now back to the main rooms. We are waiting for people to come before we send them to the breakout rooms again for a second and last time. So waiting for people to come back. All right, now in your group of experts, solve problem, create knowledge, take decision, and complete task, I saw that you were very engaged in discussion and you have some brilliant ideas about the task that those students could be engaged to solve a problem, or about the task your students could be involved in creating knowledge or meaning, or other tasks also your students could be engaged in taking decision and complete tasks. Now you are the expert of this kind of activity for your students. Now I will be sending you in another group. This time there you're gonna share your ideas with people from another group. And each one will have a turn to speak to his or her peers about your activities you have discussed in your group. Remember, in the first group, you were the expert. Now, each expert is taken from one group to be share his or her experience with another group. For instance, those who were in the group of solve problems will share their ideas with people from create knowledge, take decision, and complete tasks. And after he or she finishes, the other one from create knowledge will share ideas for those who were in solve problem, take decision, complete task. In turn, until you all speak about your ideas of a task, right? So this time, when you finish now, we come back to the main room for sharing information, right? For instance, I was in solve problem. Now there, I explained to my peers who came from create knowledge, take decision, complete task. I explained them about the idea of an activity for to solve a problem. Now, when I finish, the one who was in group create knowledge will explain about their ideas about how to have students create a knowledge to those teachers who come from solve problem, take decision, and complete task, right? Is it okay? Okay, let's go for like 5 minutes or 10 minutes in group discussion for the breakout rooms. So I'm gonna send you again another breakout rooms this time for the same sake of discussion and sharing. All right, here we go. Okay, now back to the main rooms, and it was lovely to hear such interesting discussion about the different kind of tasks you can ask your students to perform, and your ideas were such a relevant, such bright ideas. We can just hear one or two activities uh, about how they could have your student, for instance, work in solving a problem, or maybe work in taking a decision. So we can hear one or two and then see exactly how it works, right? One volunteer or two volunteers. Okay, perfect. Now here we go for the last activity. The last one of activities is here. So I will just share with you a statement or quotation by Donna Abernathy, and he said, online learning is not the next big thing. It is the now big thing. So remember this statement. Online learning is not the next big thing. It is a now big thing. Now, to what extent do you agree with this statement? So I will be sending you in 4 different breakout rooms, or you have to choose. You choose where you want to go. But in any case, there are 4 breakout rooms. The one that is strongly agree, the one that agree, the one that disagree, and the one that strongly disagree. Now here it's up to you to choose where you want to go. For example, back to the quotation, online learning is not the next big thing, it is a now big thing. So if you strongly agree, you go to this corner. But if you just agree, you go to that one. If you disagree, you go to this one. If you strongly disagree, you go to this one. But remember, when now you join in that room, you have to give your reasons, your ideas, why you strongly agree, why you strongly disagree, why you strongly disagree, etc. etc. So you have to give your explanation by choosing this one or that one. Okay, so for 5-minute discussion. Now this time it's up to you to choose where you want to go, but you have 4 corners to go. Strongly agree, agree, disagree, and so here I will just let you go. Yes, join. Okay, so let me create the 4 rooms. Okay, so here we have strongly agree, and here we have agree, and here we have strongly disagree, and here we have disagree. Okay, so it's up to you now to join. Okay, go ahead. Okay. Now we are all back to the main rooms, and I can see that discussion was very, very, very important. So here we are at the end of our free activities. The first one, the second one, and the third one. Now these activities correspond also to kind of online activities you can do with your students. So, and these activities are some names. I have some names, right? So I just want to try a kind of matching. So match each activity to its name. So here we have activity 1, activity 2, and activity 3. The second one, we have 4 corners, jigsaw, and think, pair, share. So for you, which one is think, pair, share about the activities we did, the 3 activities? Which one was about think, pair, share? And which one is about 4 corners? And which one is about jigsaw? Now, once you match each activity to its name, can you briefly explain the procedures and steps of each? For example, can you remember about the different procedures of think, pair, and share? Can you remember about the steps about jigsaw and that one about 4 corners? Any volunteer? So here we have no breakout rooms. We just use the chat box or the microphone. So first, let's do the matching the chat box. And then about the explanation of the procedures, the volunteer opens his or her mic and explain about the procedures of any given activity. Yes, let's go. Activity number 1, according to you, which one is activity number 1? 4 corners, jigsaw, or think, pair, share? Yes, yes, definitely, you are right. So activity 1 is think, pair, share. Think, pair, share. Now, how about activity 2? Yes, jigsaw. Yes, activity 2 corresponds to jigsaw. And finally, activity 2 is about the 4 corners. You are definitely right. Now, can anyone choose one activity or the 4 corners, jigsaw, and think, pair, share, and briefly explain how did we proceed? How did we do? For example, for the think, pair, share, how did we do? How did we proceed? Yes, any volunteer? Yes, right. Okay, good. Yes, 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 exactly. So that's how you proceed. So first we have think alone, and then we have the pairing discussed in group of 2 or 3 or 4. And then we have the sharing, which is back to the main group, right? So alone, the participants alone think about the issue. Then he or she is sent to his group. And after that, they are sent back to the main group where they have all the participants to listen and to share. That is the think, pair, share. Now, how about the jigsaw, for example? Yes. Yeah, go ahead, please. Yes, right. Yes, definitely. Oh, sure, sure. Yes, fabulous, amazing. Yes, the jigsaw activity is proceeded like he said. First, we have the expert group. They discuss about an issue in group. Then we have the sharing group. So in jigsaw, we have 2 parts of our room. The first part is about the group of experts. They discuss about a particular topic they know very well. And after that, each one go to another group and share his or her knowledge about that one you were discussing in their in particular group. Wonderful. And about the 4 corners also, as you can see, we have 1 topic and 4 corners, and each one will join according to where she or he feels better. Really amazing. You did well, guys. You did excellent job, right? Now let's see for the last questions. Yes, here about more details about the activities. I try to find articles or website link for you to learn more about these free online activities. And I will share with you this link so as to you to go and see exactly more details about think, pair, share, more details about 4 corners, and more details about the jigsaw, and also more details about how to use icebreakers on Zoom, right? This is the end of my presentation. Thank you everyone for joining and for making such an amazing interactive discussion. Thank you very much, and bye-bye for now.